Hello and welcome to Yoga with Catherine. Today we're going to be doing yoga for low back pain, low back tightness, whatever's going on. There's a number of things that can be causing low back pain. So there's like hip tightness, hamstring tightness, poor posture, etc., etc. So we will be kind of countering all of that and inviting some movement into the area and some feel-good poses as well. I do want you to know that I am sick. I've had the flu for about a week now. So if during class I cough, or I'm struggling to get a word out or something like that, and you're like, what on earth is wrong with this woman? Now you know. Do have a block nearby. We're not going to need more than one. And let's go ahead and lay on our backs. Ooh. And you know, when you're sick, hug your knees into your chest. When you're sick, it is nice to get a little bit of movement in, a little bit of a stretch going. The main thing is that you don't want to be elevating your heart rate. So without doing that, you are safe pretty much. All right, so just hugging the knees into the chest, allowing the earth to hold you up. And you'll notice that your spine is in a really nice straight position here. Deep breath in through the nose. Big exhale, side out. Another deep breath in. Big exhale, side out. One last time, deep breath in. And another exhale. Beautiful job. Coming back to a natural cadence of breath, making sure that you're taking those deep inhales through the nose and long exhales out through the mouth. Place your hands on top of your knees. And then from here, we're just going to draw the knees out away from us and then bring them back in. Pushing them out and back in, keeping that soft, natural cadence of breath going. I always try to breathe through my nose, but you know how challenging that can be when your nose is blocked. So if you hear me breathing in through my mouth, I would advise you to do the opposite. Should feel quite nice, like a little bit of a massage. And then from here, once you draw your knees back in, send them over to the left ever so slightly while keeping your low back glued to the ground. And then out in front of you, draw them over to the right and then back in. So we're creating a square-like shape with our knees. Massaging the low back, allowing your mat and the earth to just push into that area, helping release tension. Let's go ahead and reverse. Last round. And then when you're ready, draw your knees back into your chest. And then from here, we're going to send our feet up towards the sky. So kind of like a legs up the wall pose, and flex your feet towards your face. Deep breath in. And as you exhale, draw your feet a little bit closer to you while sending your tailbone away from your heels. One more time, deep breath in. As you exhale, send your toes towards your face, tailbone away from your heels. Beautiful job. Bring your feet back to that neutral position and then bring your right leg over your left. So you're crossing your knees over one another, and then you're going to reach for your toes. And if you can't really reach your toes, feel free to grab the tops of your shins wherever you can reach in this area. And then from here, we're going to draw the toes or the shins towards the ground. You should feel a deep stretch in the right glute. And reminder to really draw your tailbone down towards the ground. So we don't want it rounding up, in other words. Deep breaths in, and with each exhalation, draw your toes or your shins closer to the ground. One more breath here. And as you exhale, let go of your toes or your shins, and then cactus out your arms up above you. So your elbows will be in line with your shoulders. And then we're going to slowly float the legs over to the right, coming into a supine twist. But we've got that right leg sort of overlapping that left, so we're getting deeper into the low back here. See if you can keep both of your shoulder blades glued to the mat. If this is too much for you, feel free to grab a block and then just pop it underneath your knees. So that should take a little bit of the twist out and make this a little bit more relaxing and more comfortable. And just allow yourself to melt into the ground here. One more breath. Slowly unwind, bringing your knees back up, and then unwind your legs as well. Flex your toes towards your face, deep breath in. As you exhale, pull your your toes towards your face and drawing your tailbone away from you. One more time. Come back to neutral. We're going to send the left leg over the right this time. Grab for the shins or the toes and draw them down towards the mat so we can get deep into the left glute now. Each exhalation, going a little bit deeper, pulling a little bit more. Gosh, being sick makes your muscles super tight. I really realized that I haven't been sick in years, so it's quite interesting. One more breath. Exhale, pull, and then let it go. And then from here, we can cactus the arms and then send the legs over to the right so we can get deep into the left low back here. Once again, if you need those blocks just to bring your knees up ever so slightly so that the twist isn't as intense, feel free to do so. Last breath. Slowly unwind the legs as well. And then grab behind your knees. We're going to rock and roll till we get enough momentum to go all the way up to the top. Beautiful job. Come to tabletop position. And then from here, just doing a few rounds of cat-cow. Inhale, draw the belly button down towards the mat as you send your gaze out in front of you, drawing the shoulder blades away from your ears. Exhale, tuck the tailbone, tuck the chin, round the spine, push the shoulder blades away from one another. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch. And exhale, round. Continue to go for 3 more breaths. Invite any intuitive movement you may be needing in this moment. For me, I just want to keep it simple, and that's okay too. You don't have to invite that movement when a yoga teacher tells you to. Sometimes you just want to keep it simple. Last breath. Exhale, round. Come back to a neutral spine. Spine downward facing dog, so tuck your toes, send your hips up and back. From here, pedal out your dog. Let's loosen up. And once again, just find any intuitive movement that you want to invite here. If you want to keep it simple, please do. Maybe you're just drawing your chest towards your knees, just opening up the shoulders a little bit, getting the hamstrings warmed up. Whatever you feel is in your practice today. All right, let's come back to neutral down dog.
Inhale, right leg rises up. Let's keep the hips square, toes facing the mat. As you exhale, hug your right knee into your chest. Step it through. We're finding low lunge. So drop the left knee down and untuck the left toes. We're not going to come up here. Instead, I really want you to draw your hips down towards the mat so we can really feel the stretch in the left front of the hip. Deep breath in. As you exhale, send your hips even lower. Even if they feel like they're not really moving, you should feel that stretch intensify a little bit. Deep breath in. Exhale, send your hips lower. Deep breath in. Exhale, send your hips lower. Last one, inhale. Exhale, send them lower. All right, inhale here. As you exhale, we're going to push back into half split, but rather than staying up, we're going to come all the way down to our heels so that you've got your foot in front of you and you're kind of relaxing on the mat here. And then this way we can really straighten the spine, and you can even just stay here. If you feel it in the hamstring here, you can really bend the knee, find belly to thigh connection, wherever you want to be in this moment. But I really want you to focus on having the straightest spine possible more than anything else. So deep breaths in. Exhale, see if you can fold a little bit more, really sending your tailbone out. Deep breaths in. Exhale, fold. Another deep breath in. Exhale, fold. Slowly rise all the way back up. Let's come back into that low lunge. And then you're just going to shuffle your right foot over to your left hand to find half pigeon. So relaxing your hips down on the ground. Send your gaze over your left and then over your right so that we could find a nice neutral hip position. Inhale, lift and lengthen the spine, and then as you exhale, you can either stay there or fold down to relax here. Really making sure that you're keeping your hips square. Deep breaths in. Big exhale. One more time, deep breath in. Huge exhale out. From here, slowly begin to lift back up. And then what we're going to do is actually come all the way over to a seated position with our left leg out. So your toes are going to flip over to face the roof. Now I'm just going to turn around to show you. From the pigeon, we're going to wind out towards the left here. So we've got the right foot in front and then the left over to the side. And then we're just going to place the left hand in front of the left knee and reach the right arm up and over, coming into a deep side body stretch, which you're going to really feel in the right low back here. As always, deep breaths in, big exhales out as we lower down a little bit more. Beautiful job. Let's float all the way back up. We'll come back into pigeon pose. And then from here, tuck the left toes in, hug the right knee into the chest, and then step back down and facing dog. All right, I'm just going to switch over again because this time will be okay. Let's do the same thing on the other side. Inhale, left leg rises up. As you exhale, hug your left knee into the chest, step it through, low lunge. Lower down the right leg and then untuck the right toes. We're in that low lunge, but I want you to stay here with that belly to thigh connection, and we're really sending the hips down towards the mat so that you can really feel it in the right front hip. Deep breath in. As you exhale, send your hips even lower. Deep breath in. Exhale, lower. Deep breath in. Exhale, lower. Inhale. Exhale, push back, half split, but we're coming all the way down to sit on our bum. Inhale, lift and lengthen the spine here, so really as straight as possible, sending that tailbone out. And then as you exhale, we're going to fold. Now you can keep a little bend in the knee there or a big bend, whatever you want to do. I just really want you to feel it in the hamstring along with having a straight spine. So those two things combined. Deep breath in. Exhale, fold. Deep breath in. Exhale, fold. One last deep breath in. Exhale to fold. And then roll all the way back up. We'll come back into that low lunge. And then we'll shuffle the left foot over to the right to come into pigeon pose. So your option here, you really don't need to have a 90-degree angle. You can have that 45. I just want you to feel it in the left glute. Let's look over the right shoulder. And then the left, straightening the hips out. Once you are comfortable in your straight hips. And also, just a side note, I don't believe you would really need this if you're bringing your left foot towards this hip. But you can, if this is just too intense for you, you really can just bring a block underneath just to lift the ground up a little bit more, so that won't be as intense in your low back. Just a little note there if you do ever want to do that if you're in pigeon. All right, inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, fold. Let's take 3 breaths here. I'm really proud that I have not coughed yet. Really proud. I think the middle of the day when you're sick is sort of the best time. It's the mornings and then the evenings that are torture. Deep breath in. Big exhale out. Last breath here. Let's lift all the way back up. And then we'll send the right toes to face up towards the sky. So we're coming back to sit on our bums here. Place the right hand in front of the right knee and then lift the left arm up and over. Deep side body stretch and a nice deep stretch in the left low back there. Last breath. Come all the way back up. Let's come back into our pigeon pose. And then tuck the right toes in, hug the left knee into the chest, step back, downward facing dog. Lower the knees down as wide as your mat, bring the big toes to touch and push back, child's pose. Really drawing your chest down towards the mat here. Taking a breath here. Just opening up the hips a little bit. And I'm resting on my arms like this so that I don't overwhelm my microphone, just so you know what I'm doing. But you can do this too. You don't have to stick to the traditional poses if you find something more comfortable. All right, let's make our way up to a seated position. Bring your feet out in front of you and just bring the bottoms of your feet to touch. We're in butterfly pose. Grab your toes, grab your feet, whichever you want to grab. Shuffle your way to a comfortable position. Lift and lengthen the spine as long as you can. And then as you exhale, fold over your legs. You can feel free to push your knees down if you'd like to really open up the hips as well. Last breath here. Exhale, fold. Slowly, let's rise all the way back up. And then find a block. Keep it nearby as we come onto our backs. Whenever you're ready, we're going to find a supported bridge. And this is honestly probably my favorite thing to do if my low back is hurting. Just the way that it supports the pelvic girdle and the low back and the way that it massages it. I'm just in love with this position. So what I want to do is actually invite you to stay here for the next minute or two. Just close off your eyes, take deep breaths in, and really just relax and let your pelvic girdle just melt into the block. Let it feel really good and relieving on your back. We're also really opening up the vertebrae here, so separating them a little bit so they're not so compressed, which is something that the low back deals with a lot. So this is an amazing position to do if you are having low back pain. So I'm inviting you to just stay here for a little while. Thank you so much for practicing with me, and I'll see you in the next one.